I would try something and I didn't have realistic expectations because I was going off the expectations of the salesperson from whom I bought it. We talk about this in the book, actually what metrics we needed to track when it came to insurance leads. And we'll get into that in a few episodes. Don't you worry. Those are very important.
Why is it called your gateway to success?
Well, it's called the gateway to success, I think, because you came up with that term, but let me dive into that. I would call it the gateway to success because it's what creates belief. Now, anybody familiar with a concept called the Dunning-Kruger effect? It's been talked to. I've seen it on social here and there lately. We've had it in our webinar deck forever. And this thing is extremely pertinent to humans. So if you're a human, you may want to listen. Now, what the Dunning-Kruger effect does is it basically draws a sine wave. If anybody's familiar with that, where it starts up here, goes down to a U, and comes back up. Okay. So it draws that, right? Or the graph of kind of an X squared. So think of that graph, right? It's a U. Starts off kind of flat, drops down to the U, comes back up. Now, the top part, or time, goes along the X-axis, and results or knowledge or expertise is along the Y-axis. Okay, so up and down it's optimism, right? So it's optimism and belief, I guess, would be, positive mindset, whatever. So like where you're at, like what you believe you can do. Now, when we start off, and this isn't my terminology, this is theirs, what this group of researchers did when they studied human behavior, I think it was either sociologists or anthropologists, but they determined that people have a lot of biases, especially when it applies to themselves, right? Everybody, just think, for example, right now, as you listen to this, think of your ability to text and drive and think of others' abilities to text and drive. Who's the best, you or them? We're all the best, right? We're all the best at texting and driving, and this is a bias. We believe that we can do it better, even though we can all do it the same, right? Maybe there's some young people that could do it better, but then they don't have as much driving experience. So at the end, it's going to be a wash. So we start things very optimistic and kind of dumb, right? We don't really know what's going on. So what happens is we start off very excited and we have unrealistic expectations. And as we start doing this thing, let's say it's working out, right? We go to the gym. We were so excited to sign up when the salesperson got us to sign up. We are, no pun intended, we are pumped. We are ready to go. We go to the gym the first day. It's been a long time and man, it's heavy. And this is not as fun as I thought it was going to be. And then the next day I wake up and I am so freaking sore. So freaking sore because I went overboard. And then, of course, when I call my parents, they tell me, oh boy, you got to start off slow. And then I start getting a little bit of a seed of doubt in my mind about this. Like maybe I should have done this. Oh, maybe I should rest for a week so I'm not sore. Maybe I'm just not built for working out. All of the excuses come in and they're easy to start listening to, right? It's the voice of doubt. Pretty soon it could be the imposter syndrome coming in and it starts getting worse and worse. Well, that is realizing that we don't know all that we thought we did, and this isn't quite as fun as we thought it was going to be, and now it's getting worse and worse, and maybe we're taking our foot off the gas because it's not as fun. All these things start happening that lead to what they call the pit. Now, somewhere near the bottom of the pit, things start turning around very slowly, right? But what happens is a lot of people, and the majority of people, are going to quit right at the bottom of the pit, which is sad because it is right before the moment that things break through. Think of back to a time in your life where something worked out, but for a little bit there, you weren't sure that it was going to work out. I mean, I could take it back to 27 years ago when I met my wife. She wasn't my wife at the time. And we kept seeing each other. After we met, we weren't calling each other that much, but as we went out at night or whatever we did, we kept bumping into each other. So I'm thinking, maybe I have a chance, right? And then I started calling her and she kind of blew me off. And she wasn't giving me the signals that create optimism in a young gentleman. However, I was quite enamored. And so I kept going for it. There was a point where I thought, oh man, should I just call this one an impossible and just move on? And had I done that, think about this. Had I done that, I don't have my two kids who are spectacular, Izzy and Kenzo, doing amazing things in the world now, right? I wouldn't be married for 26 years. Yeah, we only knew each other for a year before we got married. But here we are, it worked out 27 years or 26 years. So, at the bottom of that pit, where I felt like I can't do it, right? I can't do it anymore. I leaned into that pain. I don't like saying lean into, but I'm gonna anyway. I leaned into it, and that got me through. So as it applies to the telefunnel, most, if not everybody, hits this bottom of the pit. For me, it was in December of 2019. And then, of course, along came COVID. But December of 2019 was a tough one, right? It was really tough. I was running on fumes with my investment, and it was on a credit card. And I thought, oh boy, if this doesn't work, I'm in trouble. And I was just about to throw in the towel. I had one call with Mr. Jason, and it was the call that made it click. And it was the hardest thing I ever did, which was I had slowly been kind of pulling back because it wasn't working. But in doing so, I'm actually hurting it, right? In doing so, not realizing that none of my sales producers were at capacity of their quote volume. I didn't even understand the concept of capacity. I was just starting to understand the concept of lifetime value. And I certainly did not understand cost per sale. And these are all the things that we're going to be talking about. But as we start to level up and become a lot more aware of business and understand how business works and understanding the math as it applies to the telefunnel, I think this is the reason why it's the gateway to success, because it's a system of organized chaos with only the important metrics that need to be tracked, both for activity and for results, in order to ensure that you can create the predictable outcome. And that's the point, right? So I think the gateway to success is it's the initiator. We started doing really good with auto leads. Then we started getting good at cross-selling them and bundling. We started getting good at adding life in. We started getting good at getting the umbrella in there. We started getting good at following up and having the reviews. Started getting good at having process. And process is what leads to getting things done, right? So another long answer to your short question there, buddy. But I think that I nailed it. I think I got that for you. Is that what you're looking for?
Oh man, totally get it.